Canada is moving forward with a digital services tax that will impact U.S. companies, that he says because of that, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. He says we will let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the U.S. within the next 7-day period. So, Kelly, this is a digital services tax that Canada had been expected to, or the U.S. was hoping Canada might not move forward with after the U.S. decided to take out that Section 899 revenge tax from the ongoing negotiations over that tax and spending bill that's in Congress. They moved yesterday to remove that. I'd been told they were using that as negotiating leverage with other countries and hoped that countries like Canada wouldn't then move forward. Now Canada is moving forward with this tax. Trump says because of that, all trade talks are off the table, and he'll be naming a new tariff rate within the next week. I will emphasize, though, Canada doesn't have quite as much to lose on the tariff front as other countries do at this point. They're not facing a July 9th deadline. And while there is a 25% tariff now on Canadian imports, anything traded under the USMCA is exempt. So that means that at least a majority of their goods are exempt from those tariffs at this point. But then again, there are sector-specific tariffs on steel and aluminum and cars as well. So we're seeing some impact there, but sort of a wait and see as to what happens in the next 7 days.
Megan Cassell, Megan, thank you very much. Very quickly, if people are wondering what this digital services tax is, basically it's going to tax 3% on any revenue that you make online in Canada, even if you're an American company. So if you're Meta, I presume Amazon, anybody that engages, that's their word, with a Canadian consumer online, subject to the tax, and it's retroactive going back to 2022. By the way,
they passed it last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
and then they were supposed to get rid of it after, or I don't know what happened at the G7 or didn't happen. Remember, Trump left early.
They passed that deal. Maybe this is why he left.
Well, now he's saying something pursuant to that they didn't abandon it as expected, and so because it's still in place, now here we are.
Listen, Trump ostensibly left the G7 because of Iran and Israel, but we now know how angry he was over this digital tax. Was he angry enough to leave because of this? He's angry enough about the tax that he's now saying we're not going to negotiate with Canada anymore because of this.
And I believe he left the day before the big tariff talk day. So you wonder, would this have come up and been potentially resolved had he, who knows, but this is something we didn't hear about until now. To Megan's point, it becomes another layer where tariffs.
By the way, being taxed in a domicile where you do not reside. So your Meta's based in California, the United States. They do business in Canada, they get taxed. Very similar to what the leading mayoral candidate for New York City is proposing with regards to online taxes. He said the other day that any company that does business with anyone in New York would be subject to New York City taxes. So if you're in Amazon, you're going to be taxed for making a delivery.
That's interesting, and we'll see if that were to stay, if he's fully elected, if that whole kind of policy sticks, how those companies would react. I'd love to see, because most of the time, a lot of them try to pull back wherever they can to avoid those levies.
Canada.
Beyond trade and tariffs, a new data point for the Fed to consider for its July